International Market, a home of quality African and Caribbean foods, foodstuffs, fresh and dried fish, meat, beverages, and empo cosmetics. Ope Ghana eduane papa edi na ope anwoniama ato na wodi akofia kwaye webiane a enko bebia Bura African International Market efri se ehọ na wobenya ne wo hwehwe nyina no wato aha mekire se dia ope bia a wobenya bi ato Ghana no ebi ewo African International Market a ewo abrochima mu ha enha ho enkra obi emane ntom famfo play enfam brew enkra obi emane ntete ne ho na ha no ho mfa obre bebre mu Bura African International Market na obenya de wo pe nyina bi wo ho wo pe more na wo de aka wo be nko bi edi ana wo pe banche e de wo fufuo bi edi am wakoma to wo yem body ampesi adokon enu nti wetia e pe body ato na wonya bayre ana se kontomre ana se emponya ado a mesrew entete biom Bura African International Market na obenya ne nyina bi wo ho se wo hwehwe ye chi akwan wo ye new place na you 289 Muddy Branch Road, Gettysburg, Maryland 20878, close to Planet Fitness and Lot. Obetumia frey wo ahomatrofo iso 240-477-4831. Mrs. Ubium 240-477-4831. Anase 301-2375-497. Anase Obetumia send me an email ewo africanentmarket@gmail.com. Anase mpo your website www.africaninternationalmarket.com. African International Market, home of quality foods.
No words, my heart's awake to give you praise. Oh, made a meditation.
So honey amani ebru misua na meni dasu nyina sampwa meni dasu mi wo ye ba kope e honso na menya ra chichire nyamesemu a menya ni ho nkuranshen semu a menya ni ho enyupa menya ni ho obi baby sami say Asomdwee Radio sami dawani Minjai hotiara do Sami kasa Asomdwee Radio Eya Jimmy Sosa Asomdwee kwa Etiefo munu ya papa sini miti Asomdwee Radio
Mamba, Swasi Achuma, Sia Brosansa, Yadi, you would answer what you. I was here for when you know Joe at the Asomdwee Radio. So, summary your life, our Facebook and our YouTube. So, Facebook, Asomdwee Radio and TV, and our so YouTube, and so Asomdwee Radio and TV. Ubetimi alcohol now already air so live from the studios of Asomdwee Radio. Ya saba ufi mountain so baby will be out here and kabia more car about the Asomdwee Radio. So many time I bought honum lemon said your time the TV more car about 1 solid hour in the best some more and they bidding come after your poem with your hona ya Becca Shrum say I apologize say for the past best 2 weeks in the intimate ember so West or no doc time here very tight. After the Yakupon Dam Roma, Yetimiasa, baby, na Yabesumo Sumpa. Said every Tuesday, be near Barberton for years and now feeding come out at the fire poem with the on, and then she has a baby, and it's a baby come out at fire poem with the on Tijibre. Now for his bomb of the Atom craft from your Bisombra. Now also meet you. I have gospel yeah, a bro every Tuesday. My name is Embrado do I yet me about fee no mountains, no, I didn't some party bro saying it to me about ball pea, so I'm ready. Me o GDM mapase wapon wodi no e kɔ nanim papa senko anim dia na chese so wotimi ya bibi e fa ho. Last time I share and see reasons why we gain weight and the absolute best way we lose the weight. And then also no yabeba na afi yababedi enkomo pii enti Mr. Obomodin na etimi join na tunkrafo nu bi se onso emra na onso mra metie yadamase na samutie tumukoso ana muntie dwumadi na yeguso a edebro ma menkwa homa no so esanse dok aba na onso so emfa eye ene de ewode ebrendok memo akwa aba edeba dwumadi so biem.
Yo, mechia wona mechia etifo ina enyumre.
Doc ya feel pa.
Okay, I'm just say they woni no na schedule na tight kakra but abrowa yi puma kwan montin na de bibia da din.
Yeah. Yeah, the must no. Doc, and last week you share no and I'm there can dey atuja no. Reasons why we gain weight and the absolute best way to lose the weight no. Ono common e na and so Yakupon sounds to do abeken say biem de na ye de nyame ase say we do abeken say we dey menche ho no ma me ma kwan na friend started word if you instance some which is a year the abusuafo de abrɛ na ye nto aso free ho.
Yo, hena mesa da wasibio na mapasa fi de kesi de chi bibia wotie ditiro mo a yetwa moje for the past 2 weeks na omo team from Ghana omo amode omo samoba mechia mia meba ene my advisor Mr. Patrick Yendo otie from Ghana den because the biano Asomdwee Radio abono ne kusia bebre ya wonema bebre ho nti mechia omo ene omo amotie me free na ene omo a ya mesi omo so na em say the kind no. The last time you shared, you can say about weight gain. Na is so with respect to idea, so we say because you most want a conforma idea, so the absolute idea, so without say we be idea no, it's highly impossible. Say we be result and also we be the way no. In terms you can also as a matter of fact, right after no questions by no so no. Na you quite massive, but let me say yentumi amba. Na am say yamba for a while no questions in the adults but I'm saying the jumadi so ya there na ya prepare say be kan 170. Ama am say questions be brave so ho because nipa be brave am no wedi nkomo a I know we curious about what is going to come up. Nti mencha ho no me one product review aya na ho hia say me kan ho asem. Your products be used to your friend Enzico. Na ajeba kwa me use our product here for our yasuyahano is for dysbiosis, gut dysbiosis. Na me can gut dysbiosis another say ye niema na ye microbiome na say ye niema papa wo na ato bahana ato chima na nipa bia no yare say the maka pempi we fidie so no ye yare wo nyina no so na the problem na start ye say ye mental issue, say ye diabetes, say ye endocrine and other metabolic disorder. A continue woman. And intina, one of the things is anytime ye treat you be to say will be a word diabetes, so by a share how you show gut a very, very important to liver. Liver is the first thing that suffer from insulin resistance. Keep in mind, liver is also in the gut. Into one of the things they use for me pesa product where the coin first year jumano because so we not touch the meaning say we need good bacteria and a be jumano I will need anymore and this product and I was and the man pen sounds should be the fact say a combination of different vegetable blend of media boma a break it down with protein with fat and carbohydrates and inflammation tittle will be a service will be a gastritis will be a way from yare in and out and you use this animal way at the manner and sometimes you use with other products they say pro-symbiotic and Zymex and Zypan but because of a coin of unit it will be a bromelain no only a boy with protein digestion you will be a friend glutamine I will be a queen because nipa no ye mo no ye will be a friend of a friend is saying as as a carpet we yam into say a womb break here and as a carpet no what here and a coffee baby say leaky gut bano. But you are this way the cement side in the memory come my friend glutamine. Sir and the coil was side and a bois with the lining of the gut, Into me cancer and the coil has a man become fuma because of digestion. So who I know why you bloated and in anything with the gut, me can force and the coil on a product a year mushroom because of how a yen because a combination of nyama bebre and the idea boom. Na ye dwuma nipadua no menti on any product me de betwe na ende so me questions na do so but bono me no quick did kind true blue tea ni true green food so da ho odwaman so obi a wo team bia local shopper na me be say mo ne mo local African shops no owners ndi nkomo no mo reach out day in and day out in your course with respect to true blue tea, any true green food. Nipan be bro ha no mo of course it is so which you go ha na or perceive or try one product to be on the so about the be and because of shipping issues into the big ben no I na kope into money mo local African shops in Indian Komo na omo starting and stocking on New York 4 years say no I'm so mo set because mala market uko friends in Delaware so bi ho uko Massachusetts bi ho uko California of course Maryland and of course Virginia enti you can forma obi bia wo pa opomodin nipa no bebre ni you quite concerned about said you are not to titro more outside the country titro UK and Germany for but and Canadians especially ni na no ni magu kwema you try say you back it ni na there but one of the things are very interesting be person me gina kakra with respect to true green food and true blue tea is omo nipa ni bebre no adwene sa anyway with respect to sugar yes sugar is a big one but nipa ni bebre so ni say starch corner so no affect your BP and last week many Kofi TV Eddie Nkomo and Eddie Nkomo he was very shocked to find out to say just starting your no crowd to more blood pressure kosoro and he was very shocked and now opushi more say yen try say yedi ebedru Ghana na nyo no nko ya idea nipa bebre say idea woni mu nipadua na wo steady woni nipadua wi a obo say before and after eating certain type of carbs of blood pressure is quite high and which I say it might impact on your blood vessels and continuously doing that can be a problem and anything that may come for true green food any true blue tea edema will be and the whole drama so to only and the betray in terms of house cleaning exercise they to be Rita F Delaware said doc what is seed oil oils I can was bebre na oils are on ya can say enye na e high peduano sa oils see a cause of weight gain sa oils see and a cause of blood pressure sa oils see and a cause of increased cholesterol na me can one product a kunipa excuse me a kunipa chin diabetes a seed oil see me jina should be one product a kunipa chin diabetes a seed oils a bini canola oil a bini vegetable oil a bini grapeseed oil a bini soybean oil the list goes on I'm say I can't be able if you so into Rita F I would throw free Delaware by you can see the oil and no bino into yen try as much as possible say see will be with fear with time you bet me a clean your cabinet in April because a one product a kunipa you say to kunipa a kunipa chain diabetes na bibi kunipa chain diabetes there a dangerous sadly no nipa no be braining and Asomdwee Radio Daroma ani akonya wenti nipa no be brain for the first time o ma say you kasa vegetable oil na nye say the papa because vegetable oil really vegetable burn obetumi oil from you just think about it into who vegetable oil who corn oil na sanyu na ndada no korbi enum edi nipadua nya de inflammation ba na inflammation so ba nipadua ma de how be brain na de brown tea on only seed oils the toast or say AB bronze New York or say can fatty liver cause diabetes? Yes, fatty liver a bit to me cause diabetes. So insulin resistance over to fix it by going low on your carbs. Or on can food true green food, need true blue tea. Now fatty liver so over to me diabetes. And say even so 2% of liver no fatty, it can cause insulin resistance and of course lead to diabetes. See, the point is fatty liver idea a total rate nipa ne bebre fatty liver womunim. And fatty liver no ne fapem no enam say fat nipa ne bebre dwene say wo di srade na kofa ba no kre ne say starch nuane ne kofa fatty liver edeba so nipa ko bebre wo ho a omo fatty liver womunim na ono so idea how idea edi kind fun in terms of diabetes because answer no be type 2 diabetes no na ni liver no eni di kan ebeye insulin resistance and sana akọ cells no nti say o fatty liver and I say a diagnose with fatty liver pain so you're very careful because the next thing I will be no diabetes nti or say AB I prefer bronze yes a bit to me akọ so sa Grandma Newark, New Jersey, or say True Blue Tea has stopped my cravings. I am loving it, your grandma Yakupon and Shroud. As many Paul, one for baby number. Loving True Blue Tea because my aching and pain were just too much in the morning, and I have been able to overcome that with just a week of being on True Blue Tea. Yes, as many True Blue Tea, need probably baby same. Say it to me boil with inflammation, it to me boil with pain, and I'm say one of the things I is part to do with insulin resistance. And because I do be our insulin was inflammation, so was because insulin is inflammatory marker. Into high insulin levels will cause chronic inflammation. It's no surprising say nipa ni bebre no ehun say by taking True Blue Tea or morning stiffness ni aches ni ade about sciatica any type of inflammation. As a matter of fact, last week will be a COPD a hane pie started True Blue Tea would di adanse kese. So no niema excuse me and ye di betray mo.
Okay, that's it. I was seeing a free no joining a high Asomdwee Radio. Na ye de ye in Sempano Eddie Ebrewo. Kosua na ma ofidi na sunset. Kosua ma ofidi na sunset na ma ye de ba no eni soso. Na was ye nyina ye sua de ebom. Doc, why salt is good for you? And then nkoma was ye ni na de bia na make no bibusa wo say e di enti na ye di nkomo e de afa salt ho.
Yo, Messan, that was to be Messan for say, for the case of the key, will be a what team. I mean, say, a cat salter will be an Ibea, say, salty idea, vilified in a modern world because of vilified to be a bonny cheese and yet at the pack. But salty at the pack, depending on where you are at, said yeah, and a cassette. Depending on where you are and a certain Indian, you could be any amount, so prepare salt. As a matter of fact, your daily requirement for salt, meaning say Nipodiano, your amount of salt out here every day, until you can't just go without salt. A very important thing, but and salt, no, so a year near Mobile when Nipodianum, into Yasa Nipodiano, I touch him, Sanya congenital, meaning say I'm found Wodia, Nipodiano. Because I found wo se bia wo yare bi ntie ma wo mpe salt nipa bia no wo hia salt wo hia no in certain quantity certain amount yade hia se di hia potassium yade hia se di hia magnesium on daily basis no sa pepper na salt so etie
yen hwe question me bi say there bi say obi bekas na presenter ya na DJ DN question wo bi say ye kan china na anasa salt na ye pese ye chese what salt.
Yeah, in China, me can say, said the kind in China, now the chemical, sodium chloride, only chemical name, no, now one of the most abundant minerals I will we assume now. So, far about 100 pounds of sea, for instance, a ton of ocean, yeah, idea airport, now, and you said the name of ocean, so as from year. Into ufa about a ton of ocean ubenya about 100 pounds of sea salt. And that's a salt no dose be and the salt idea ye dose on our ocean na eboa ni padua no. Into salt there ye ka salt the chemical na say sodium chloride. A sodium and a chloride a two things na ebomu. Into say we are wire chemistry and as a chemistry from high school, college, wherever you may have learned it, you know, once a year two, your sodium and your chloride, the boom, and in a rare way, no, about 50-50 with markers 60-40, but just to make it easy, no, it's 50-50 in a yakan boom.
All right, I'm sure. You made the CDA or not, who said, yeah, more Sony in your home, Cosa, name of Yako, you know, yes, Yako, and then what about ocean, na ocean, dear. My inchilemu ocean any salty you can't ocean and you can't ocean a percentage saying.
I'm so ocean, I'm say I'm say a but in a put the you see because ocean is only a bigger version of a pool. To sea, for example, in the pool, but ocean is multiples of a pool. It means the ocean is bigger than a pool. It's an mechano.
All right, you can't ocean now. How long can be a bit many and free and our salt in free?
In China, dear, title no or in free a pomo, but it's also to mean free. Your mind to say you too good, no, on any table salt or not. Man, it can say iodized salt or not. The iodized salt in a salt are you too. You too said you too good, no. Now you are fortifying with iodine in tea. So baby me no only Tanya in China free.
All right, Busua Yugusua, Eddie Jumediano, bro, na. Baby, I'm doing a dog. My busan say a kind of fraction of salt. You may be a deal when you're brabum.
Salt, you never be brave when you put the as a matter of fact, you need to do your regulation of your body fluid in sooner way mono salt and a regulatory say you need to do you will be a fan of calcium. Calcium is the most dominant mineral. Your solid tissue being say your calcium, your bones more salt in a door so say you can't buy intracellular fluid no more another cell na idea dose mineral dose a potassium na you buy extracellular fluid na outside the cell no sodium I say in chine any a dominant mineral or until na you responsible for regulation of fluid a very very important say you say in chine na yes I juma no in chine korea so no and no also make it be a friend hydrochloride and hydrochloride no ono na say ma uyim acidify uyim abirbian because nipa bia yemi acidic until without salt no you cannot make hydrochloride no until nipa be more acid reflux ni ade nyina no aya no a salt deficiency a clear sign say almost salt intake obo so me ndin chine enso bonti odi bibia bo so onya gas odi bibia na yefu na aye like see anasa aye bloated ni nyina aye sign say oni hydrochloride no and salty na boasadin your body pH nipa do na pH you maintain of course and of course you so no your pH you maintain you may say we are acidic and nyina no salty kroya na yes adwuma no. Interestingly, salt so a boy with glucose absorption into obi a high sugar no na so won send din chine and unless reason not to do with salt it will affect glucose absorption and also na hydrate salt and a boy with hydration and anything as a wouldn't so see one as all the sea salt guma and as all the chine guma where my own so be brave because a boy hydrate nipaduano into salt the idea here na what a wood drumadi a nipaduanum.
Right, dog, yes, I'm sure. You can't signal. Quite a body, no, a Sunday signal.
Yo, in nipaduano, said the Abbey Americano, be a new will be in or answer the way be Yejumano or contact you in a Yejuma. And one of the ways a nipaduano, a Sunday signal, no, to the outside sun is through the sodium. Sodium, no. In China, no bois sodium communication happen in the cell. Into CBA, sodium rush into the cell, it changing near my what cell no more. Into without sodium, no, there's not that communication. On the mind is our signals. Now, yes, I need to be resting membrane potential of the nerves and into nerves and they are. But in order for action to happen, no, nchene and as salt and as sodium. So I was nchene sodium. I will be using it interchangeably to mean the same thing. On the yes man until without salt, you are is unable to mix our signals.
So ekobase enonia semna I didn't see na debi anko focus salt enye salt in ye.
Yo, me da say salt you can say enye because Abibia associate high salt and I say salt with high blood pressure. But I'm kind of sorry without giving the full picture. I want a small picture of it because I'm cast 70 say blood pressure was run up as a main dinchene because in more blood pressure cost but canning in the entire cofa by and intina a money public breakers and chine and yeno.
All right, Ebusia Yegusu Nambika say Yegusu also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Open source search Facebook and also YouTube Asomdwee Radio and TV. Jumedia ye deal with radio so at the same time so also share our both social media platforms so and Yegusu ye didn't come out efa in Chino any bebre ewa jumpo bi say enchine ya dia enye ne udidi na kwasa nchine de gumas enchine ya odi agumi de enye ma na doc ye to afi ma mi saw enchine no ekwa be so na oyi a the right way to do it say ye no aduane ya wie na wodi tum anase aduane ne guso ekuru na do tum no emu de na ehu ne say eya na ne de enye
yo me do say ade we ya de em say titiro Ghana for bebre because years ago na because in be Ghana ba eye aduane we de nchine be go so da be mempene because eye we memfa nchine ngum. So the gum intem, so the gum training and your salt is going to do the same thing. So the abbreviation because sugar is sugar, and it doesn't matter because so the gum and you so the whatever it is, is going to have the same impact. What idea say so. It doesn't really matter how but it's very important see the amount of salt that you take and the impact have on our nipple, and especially when they are pre-existing conditions on and cover sans and so on salt and
pre-existing conditions as okay a kidney function asem na yenhwe kidney function enchine any kidney enkitanwodie ben wodi enchine baby aba affect kidney and answer
yo and correct na answer na me call mama tum kakra when it comes to say ye can enchine and salt myself. May cancer because you blood pressure, normal blood pressure, assuming say 120/80. Say would be a lot of salt. What will happen is you pull water to the salt and water and they follow each other through BBFN osmosis. Into say of course in should be DHA. So you increase the water volume, okay? And of course, so we increase your water volume, so it increases your blood volume and onobema pressure about our blood vessels and so. And as I know, Wakumano has to work harder to get rid of high blood pressure. And of course, what the engine be brain or one should be brain, amount water volume no and blood volume no costro. Yes, I know. So pump Wakumano to get the excess water out. And it does that by going through the kidneys. And that is only part of the story. Okay? Say, good kidney functioner, so I deal with any problem. Into which let's assume, say, be with the 18 years old, only problem be managing about 10 grams. 10 grams of enchine, maybe 4 or 5 teaspoons of enchine, only for the day. We by checking the blood pressure, 1 hour, 2 hours later, it will be fine. It becomes a problem when there's a pre-existing condition, and that is with respect to the question now ubisa now one of the things is kidney edi akotini wom when it comes to a friend saying blood pressure and a winching yen hwa dey bi kidney na edwuma yen say filter out niema because a filter out niema insuo no ono na kidney yes edwuma filter but filter na say a clean insuo no mu but we are essentially reabsorbing back about 99% of insulin no kidney also absorbing back eyi nneɛma fi ne nyinaa firi mu a na asan absorb almost all of it back nti na ɛkyerɛ sɛ nkyene sɛ adeɛ nka nkyene ne nya a ka kidney no nko filter wi a ɛsɛnko potoka sɛ o excrete ne nyinaa na so mani nyinaa ɛbɛsenko nti kidney edi akotene wom when it comes to for instance excretion of salt ne adeɛ. But in a normal person, when all things are equal, say meaning say kidney function you're okay. Within chinini you absorb about in chinini so back, and that's the beauty about it. So what I want to be able to teach and say, and I want everybody to understand. They say idea in chinini and can filter you a think a din chinini so echo, but in your son a happen.
Yes, so here, when I'm so in Chile, be a banner, yes, I'm here say. One me out here says some time back on this year program used to say Yeni Pediano air so smart in a way say it bit me pushy sa water no na so area absorb back. Now I didn't see na a taking much of a year a juma be say.
Yo, said in America say oh excess fluid na and I say you shouldn't be bria who kidney be filter no will reabsorb. And the amount now of so now over filter na is 100 times more than the excrete for your urine. In other words, you know, kakre bi na in yamana ye filter kakre bi na yeden ye manu bedroom so called. Na nipadua na nkasa every day no it push about 180 liters of fluid every day. 180 liters, and of that 180 liters, about 179 liters are reabsorbed back. So then I make only 1 liter per and they end up in your toilet bowl. Internet said nipadua reabsorb about 99.4% of insulin now. With respect to question said the body is so smart, you know. So why does it push all this water and reabsorb it all back? Yes, but the kidney and the human said a best safety through Niama born in there war a filter. They got a filter access on here, a filter feeling get rid of all the bad stuff and bring the good stuff into the body. And self filtration occur about 60 times during the day. 60 kidney yes, I did about 60 times in the day. And so exchange way and they bring it near my papa back into the body. Now I get rid of the junk and in your phone and that's the purpose of the kidney. And in Tina near my papa no. In other words, and I'm so salty the papa reabsorb back. Now, of course, all the junk in your mafina and penina, amana besiako. That is the gist, and I say, idea because of say, if the salt was that bad and the body is so smart in regulating its animal, why doesn't it excrete it all? But it does not.
Now, you need come on for a fluid reabsorption. Now, maybe say your body no sounds so reabsorb glucose, Anna.
Yes, absolutely. The nipadua say maintaining certain amount of glucose. And glucose no yempese glucose and not sugar and yempese a bageti into your joints so say your urine. So normally so be a normal blood glucose the body will filter out for instance glucose na we are was so reabsorb. Interestingly salt and not salt me say to me are reabsorb and I say about 99.4%. With sodium, with glucose, a reabsorbing about 100% into. For instance, when it comes to sugar, at no point in the percent sugar equal Jones of until nipadua reabsorbing back. Yes, sugar and as a glucose idea a reabsorb it.
All right, Abusuya Gusu Sima Eduasa and 9 and I woman non son pound is Eduasa 9. You didn't come out the fire poem every Tuesday and you did media at the Asomdwee Radio. So, I'm ready to have a more quiet, more friend, no bisa question. I will be sa. Some media me Gusua at the questions no my dog not in Chimu at the Amai. Yaka glucose once say me dog. Yes, I'm so share a yes salt and so. Ne kwan so no ewo san kuma abuse reabsorption no enchiremu be na de be man
yo salt no so equally precious idea said me kind ho hia pa ma nipadua na ndi ehwa de be say we dey about 3 grams of sodium per day unipadua be filter 540 grams of sodium even though we don't have that much and the NT to me 540 abra would 3 grams per annum it me filter about 540 grams no is because of how many times now friends a kidney no it goes a recycle so in other words so we do about a pound of salt a day which is about 3 grams you will excrete it in through the kidneys because a person maintaining be a friend homeostasis and I said balance into the body is so smart to say the obedient and making sure that the body is in homeostasis. I can't say homeostasis and it say the is in balance into the obedient we making sure say or no base security into percentage wise no more than 98% into the base security but making sure say the you have ample potassium sodium and another salt to maintain a juma functions and of course glucose 100% salt reabsorption takes place and it takes place just say in fact salt now be and making sure say the body is in homeostasis. For example, so body need homeostasis and anya idea we best to salt bia nti emphasis so low salt diet anya idea body no ebema salt salt ni bia besia kokra but high salt diet saka crave no ebema na besia ko the percentage no kra no behwem no was about 98% and that's how tightly regulated kidneys here when it comes to salt.
All right, Doc, you be able to share in respect to GFR. Meaning, say GFR the water bonidin pa or FDA. So say a car GFR now means say yeah kidney na ho de no. Na ye din commodify chini ho na GFR bemwa na eno no de beto to say.
Yo, because the GFR ana protocol because the glomerular filtration rate and there's ono ye makana saying the amount of fluid that a person and I say a filter or kidney no more. And so we have with the lab testing idea bones you are thrown on say be a GFR and I say EGFR meaning say estimated GFR and so number no depend on where you are looking at and I say a borough 90 into that amount of ensue and I say fluid that a foul kidney for filtration. So only GFR no.
All right. A basa na ahoden kura na ye kan sort 17 no na ahoden le bekọ sen e bekọ soro na e beba form
yo say ka die finance yen fan say me kan say number near 90 depending on where you are looking at it if finance say 90 obi ana so we above 90 that's with respect to or salt regulation I said you will be sano you don't have to worry about anything nyama me ken na say o GFR e bro 90 it's not going to cause high blood pressure because it will put the body in homeostasis. Meaning, say, affect your blood pressure because there is no pre-existing condition. There is no other other things can affect the GFR. But this one, I am talking with respect to salt and kidney function. It is a kidney no salt no control because the kidney nanka say be say manamo and it's a man scenario say offer an 18-year-old a healthy 18-year-old with a outstanding kidney function now man salt be able to say it's not going to impact the blood pressure and assignment simply because the kidney is going to handle it the way it's supposed to be handled.
All right, ebanesa edie na esi ewo high salt diet.
Yo, say obi high salt diet. What it means is say odi nchine bebre into yen high dey be say emphasis obi di 4 teaspoons of salt per day. I don't know a high salt diet. Let me keep something in perspective. 1 teaspoon of salt is about 5 grams. 1 teaspoon of salt is about 5 grams. So the mechanical salt is a 50% sodium, 50% chloride. And it is 5 grams and is a 2.5 a sodium and a 2.5 in a chloride. And it is only 4 teaspoons of salt. It is only 10 grams of sodium per day. A lot of salt. And it has to filter about 540 grams of sodium. Just it will reabsorb about 530 grams. In the 10 grams now would be mama ni na abeden abesiako. so that the body is in homeostasis. So percentage no me see am bubu din. So ohwa abon say the friends saying the amount na man be saying coil no and I say you reabsorbing is about 98.1%. In the yes and with the salt even though with the high salt and I say with the high salt you will still reabsorb about 98.1%, and that is when the GFR is good. A high salt diet will not impact blood pressure and I say blood vessels in no way, shape or form, because your kidney will do what it's supposed to do. And in this case, 10 gram so that we can say a filter about 540 gram of potassium every day. So we could do 10 gram now, over 530. Now, 10 gram now would be in Abesianko to put the body in homeostasis. Where your math now it comes to about 98.1%, meaning say a reabsorbing in assuming the kidney is excellent.
Yo, doc, I know a high salt diet, near a low salt diet in Minnesota, and some dinner AC. Say
the mechanic, say, we didn't be brea, Abesianko, but percentage, a reabsorb most of it. Say, who low salt diet, so my fun to be to say 1 gram or less per day. So the only part you say to me filter about 540 gram of sodium. Yes, and a reabsorb 539. Let's say 1 gram na would and never try to say best creatinity. Yes, and reabsorption can be close to 100%. Not quite 100%, but very close, because would the salt in a wound intake, very low. In you are not excreting wanted. In other words, when you eat more, you get rid of more. When you eat less, you get rid of less. And that is the function of the kidneys. Correct, and I say command. Those are the things you will see.
Doc, now see, I found research now. I did research,
Yo, honey, idea, I'm say a issue, kakra, when it comes to your blood pressure. And how do you be? Research is very inconclusive. Me kind of say, research and you're very clear cut. Now, the intermediate say there are studies mostly there's a relationship between high salt and high blood pressure. And I sounds also studies some in the same breath now you will studies there is no correlation. But then in any dependent studies anyhow studies you will study say free be double blind study. Double blind study usually you funny nipa na yama we ni yama we na we nim say we ni edi ma we nim say we ni edi ma we sa study na na tie papa di ni na no en sa en say papa but we na sa na a variables ni na mutumi control na you are able to get better results in the sa studies ni dey sa double blind ni yama mutumi control variables and say we make sure say because you control variables in a study. What I mean is say be party A ni party B where you man salt in you where you man salt in you but you must control variables meaning say nipa kono mu ni omufie and even though you say you man salt in you or you na hodi McDonald's are salt to and yes nti make variables and near my betimi ama steady na off if those are controlled now yes and pointed to the direction say there is no correlation but then science what has been done is most of research with respect to high blood pressure and high salt and observational studies. You can't say observational studies are on the Amoya and say, you babies have to be a DJ, dear Naudi, now I can't, natural. Now, also a Yakobisa person, Tosumi and say, we also dear Naudi now, what can you throw near yet, sad, Now, the crowd woman say, in observational study, they are asking for how much sodium would take and some of them would take sodium bebrebe some of one are most junk food no moody McDonald's or moody Burger King. And they are not just getting sodium, they are getting starch, they are getting sugar, they are getting omega-6 oils, said you be beside earlier, and seed oils, any chemicals. And sa near way drive it and I say affect it or blood pressure until you are not just taking salt. You see, as a woody in China, woody French fries are in China pizza show. 30 minutes, 1 hour. It will affect your blood pressure. Blood pressure because one, seed oils, chemicals by frying a bar, starch, sugar, will cause the blood pressure to go up. Into salt keke na wo get it. Into most of observation studies, of high salt diet, they are mostly getting junk foods. And into onyo no na play role into that is the problem. And of course with of course you're gonna have high blood pressure. Into only when it comes to the research, into this research is quite inconclusive. But from my standpoint, any dear minimum ABC and then I kind of I officiation preview trip, but my son can be himself. Your sodium, you hear a day, and your potassium, you hear a day. The ratio is about 4:1. If you are getting the right amount of potassium and your kidney function is optimal, potassium nankasa ye ejumamau. Meaning says if I say what the sodium so you are required to eat a day, what the 3 times that, but you have gotten your daily requirement of potassium. Potassium nankasa be drive salt, and also sodium number by way of urination. Now I get rid of it. Now I ensure homeostasis, and that is the issue. Most people are deficient in potassium. As na ye dim komo ye ba no me kanema miensa me say calcium on the dominant mineral e calcium your bones your solid tissues. Potassium and then the most dominant your intracellular tissues. And sodium is the most dominant our extracellular tissues. Unfortunately, 90% or more of the population are deficient in potassium. And most people I can't pay so your lab now, lab work and so potassium you're normal. But one can show with you an idea, wouldn't say potassium, it shouldn't be normal. And the entire is because potassium is a dominant mineral in the intracellular fluid, meaning say your true moja and your intracellular fluid into dia yebehu. Inti so person who the amount of potassium you have to go into the intracellular fluid to find out. Or no na currently and also conventional medicine and check it. Into dia yebehu. Into most people are or more sugar issue or more hypertension issue or more metabolic disease, they are supremely deficient in potassium because in intracellular ion dominantly honour into say what so when you say we work at testing for that and ya dia will be on na kofa sadi weniba into with the right amount of potassium talk of salt in Ukraine and being an issue simply because the potassium is going to do the job. Unfortunately most people are resorting to Kodu. Said the makana Kodu ba 300 milligram of potassium. We hear about 5,000. It's just not enough. We hear 5,000 milligram. That's what we did 300 onko baby. You can't do ni nasu through Kodu because it will spike your blood sugar. Until we need to understand the things we need our body to have to offset us in general. And to say the mechanics in general bad it will not be an issue. He said obedi nchini na filtering na asantry na sand ya banipadiano. It means that it has functions to do unless it's a pre-existing condition. In this case, kidney dysfunction. And I say with GFR no e ho to chimakakra.
All right, abusuya yegusua kasima bes edu mi na e djumadi no SC 12 more minutes to wrap up the show. Now there were a few more questions. I'm a doctor now. Odi anu ye di amaye. Jumedi every Tuesday any the Ebra was from radio. So na edi nkomodi afa enchino doc edi nchiremu bebre amaye. So enchino nye bad. Enchino ya adi aye. Demo msa uwo aye pre-existing conditions ya bibi se uwo kidney problem so ha hono ene di ha ono eba. Na misa busa ene se bi eta kan se enchino se unu aduane wie na wo bedi fufuo bi ana se wanya banku bi na wo bedi na wo kofa nchine de tuma eno no mom enye doc me atiase se enchine no se aduane ni siso na de gumo se wanu awie na wo se antim na kofa de gumo enchenye hwe ni nyina ye nchire na wodie enti yeguso a koyen doc yen hwe eno ma hodo ben ne ya ebetimi ama ye GFR no ebetuma asesa ye GFR
yo mdawase mse yedi nkomo no ne ka GFR no and say on you can GFR no strictly the kidneys and ne ka kidney no and you can GFR no sorry you can salt ne ka GFR no na DM bi no bit massa GFR no primarily hormones your hormones na your way mu no etimi ekofa how e the bread GFR no ono ne ono so GFR so na ma a kid na hold in the fapim the had be stress edikan it's a yes stress you need per no so we are stress per we have some blood pressure because on a fence flight and fight response no ubi a sure blood pressure has to go up a idea a physiological requirement your blood pressure has to go up a idea required in stress no blood pressure because so yes ana unipadua no e catch kidney say hey can weigh in it and maybe because you want the blood pressure to stay high in in stress no blood pressure goes up because that's the physiological response the idea your stress say happen in not nipadua na catch kidney say my stress in mama kidney ma bibia mesen ko na kidney na I tighten kidney no ono sa stress no so free say the abribia meka no free bibi e friend sympathetic nervous system which is the flight and fight response no inti na akasa the natural kidneys no now adrenal glands no adrenals on the stress hormone free ba onto on the produce bibi e friend epinephrine ba koso the no epinephrine ni na ye stress hormones ono no eba na akoso potokase e free be vasoconstriction ama wo blood vessels na aka atwom into na pressure na blood vessels no very high into say blood pressure so e constrict na say catchum sana na e raise blood pressure no into stress hormone na cortisol no ma blood pressure no e vasoconstricted na ma blood pressure no control like I said no a physiological response na catch kidney say hey catchum na kidney so catchum because the kidney na catchum na so my fluid besin ma blood pressure na perform at that point na why stress no so enyo na ye so blood pressure then wasro and because say your person blood pressure no was into it put extra pressure on the kidneys into only idea when it comes to stress now stress is something temporary there of course once it's over no the kidney will release now what John so na bibia besen into short term the nipa unfortunately is in our dispensation right now no your stress na chronic into nipa bebre wa o kidney no are tight in realization because they have chronic stress meaning say epinephrine no epinephrine na stress hormone no was so into ama blood pressure na stay high into na cause stress it to me cause blood pressure when e kwan a faso ama blood pressure na ba because stress hormone goes up blood pressure goes up the kidney is tight and yakaje kidney say kan wanu tum can catch them because you have to have that physiological response say temporary I say bia wonam na krama bi be kawo na saade happen there is something temporary anti who se krama na nya nkawo na so ko nim kakra mfifre tiu ni bibia no ni na fe de na wo calm down na blood pressure na den a drop but to nipan bebre no a chronic stress be it ejuma be it sikasam be it anything ono no na ya na kofa hawo ne ba anti nipa bebre ho a blood pressure ndro omo da nyansa enu so enkosi hwe because the problem has to do with stress and into na sa nipa ku no walk long walk no mo yoga na sa na man pe no mo blood pressure na drop into na if you cry you can say so we check your blood pressure just sit down relax deep breath in there because those things calm you down on na make say pattern interrupt no it bring those stress hormones down they release your kidneys no that's why your blood pressure no e fluctuating very very important see be hu sa ade no and this is a quite a fast so much stress a cause so high blood pressure and some of the blood pressure running and who here see no so one fix stress there I obey am say na many patients because so say bra wa kwatena rotate for years Holland baby but now no oba visit to Holland and yabaye no kidney transplant because or long standing hypertension and that is that because most people know yamamo mundo ne sa na blood pressure no kosoro na the kidney function na perform yan kan chiro na eventually no na baye yare but stress no a big factor and most of these issues on enye addressum a idea we have to fix the stress and we can only fix it by doing lifestyle changes, lifestyle modifications, and not prescription drugs.
Doc, you're running through these 3 questions now, more 3 calls, so now you wrap up with the calls. No, what can normal be brave? Am I yet? No, Masi, Atiako actually. No, Yanshe, other hormone ben are affecting kidney and as a water retention.
They told to be one a cofas insulin, good old insulin. And most of the time, I am not moody. Most people now what's the issue? They are insulin resistant already, and most of them they are already heading towards metabolic syndrome. You keep in mind, say insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome say affected blood pressure, but any sodium per se, just animal affected blood pressure. Until when insulin was sort of tighten up kidney, and it reduces filtration, just like how our stress, hormone and is insulin. So one of the hormones and then you can't blood pressure and yes sodium per se, but sugar because high sugar my insulin say just by doing fasting the blood pressure drop because what you're doing is you are calming down the insulin resistance. Insulin form a catch the kidneys a matter jamuna yamianko and intina so called low carb diet and that's because you have dropped insulin and it beat kidney tighten not stop it. You pee everything, and sometimes you pee a lot of good things because what drop insulin and the insulin the second hormone and I say another hormone to me cover how not affect your kidney.
So you can say obi ni nchini bebre a na no ya pese ya kire sen mehu so say obi wa pre-existing condition and the how na obi ni any pre-existing condition odi nchini bebre a I don't know what does that mean.
So obi ni kidney issue na so odi nchini bebre a the kidney is going to do the job it's supposed to do. Now again you have to think about the fact that in China, so you will limit for the day. Said you potassium, you will limit. Me see potassium in China, it will ratio 4:1. And it say so in China, with the 1,000 milligram. Now when you potassium, no 5,000. That's so with the 2,000 and 3,000 now. That's so you are deficient in potassium. It's going to affect your blood pressure. Keep in mind, potassium regulates blood pressure. It regulates sodium, and see that's why I say you have to think deep. You have to understand the physiology. Sometimes in your case I may because you have to think about this. You have to work with this from that standpoint. And you say you may withdraw per se, but look at the person's diet. And internet you work about 30-page comprehensive idea. You have to go through and try to understand the mindset of Nipakono. Ghana 42, and I hate to be blunt here. They just ignore it and they just send the form. Sometimes it pisses me off, but but these are some of the things. One, because you want to, because I'm trying to get your mind at the end I would because these are things that are very, very important. And from that, make a Kenyan prescription drop here I bet me about unless say you won't sadia near fixes sadia. Oh, okay, we're going to deal with your M1 because you would, Benko and China and money when you are lacking potassium, and just that part alone can fix the background problem, assuming there are no hormonal issues. It's a very, very important say, we're to make the China all right, but if you have the potassium, you are not worried about it because potassium alone regulates insulin. Potassium alone regulates the cardiovascular system, and on any insulin, you're supposed to be in a ratio of 4:1. In the way the insulin be we need potassium continuously, you're gonna start having a blood pressure issue, and your kidney now touch him up per se, but you are deficient in another predominant mineral here in the intracellular tissue. Keep in mind, potassium is the most dominant. But you are lacking that. It's gonna, of course, you're gonna cause yourself problem, and that is why a nipple be brain over blood pressure. Now, and they are not understanding it. Blood pressure draw. So no bakum so for years you're gonna start having problems with your kidney. That's just the sad reality because one, you are not even addressing the issue. You are masking the symptoms. Pressure no blood pressure no artificial no what that anybody say you okay into online time bomb no not explode no when your pulmonary embolism no when your stroke no when you heart attack because the foundation the underlying factor no has never been addressed. Meaning nipa be more high blood pressure for years only potassium mediane on the potassium, so it's wrong and it can be a problem.
So go back say obi nice and also shall say swell and say tata meaning say obi odi nchine bebre na or issue with kidney in a man and as in tata na
No. Obinasi tata, it doesn't have to do with the inchine. It has to do with the kidney.
Okay.
Kidney no na entumi emani mesenko.
Ebu wa say basa umi aso ase the hona tomu no.
Abdominal. Intipotokasa you find edema. Sometimes it can be a protein issue. There's a lot of reasons why that will happen. But kidney idiakotini will a lot of African American patients nipa be more than 12 more issue na we are working on them. And sometimes and per se it's just that the kidney function is just not good. Sometimes it's a protein issue. Sometimes there's other factors, hormonal, big one, especially insulin. Nipa be insulin na high insulin levels almost around upon but don't kidney dysfunction. Into starting more potassium once they start seeing results, and I can attest that very well because it happened to a family member of mine. Because what's around upon kidney function is excellent, or pre-diabetic. As we started potassium powder in a solving issue, it is a clear sign or you're very deficient in potassium, and which is very, very typical with most people. 90% or more, maybe 95, maybe close to 98% of the population are deficient in potassium. That alone is a recipe for disaster, assuming the kidney function is good.
All right, my some last question, and I am call phone line or so. Where do you Mr. Obeji Merka Krana? Yeah, phone line and na ya jam wako. Yeah, so that means udi sodium bebrea and cause blood pressure. Anna?
Yes. So sodium, like I said, sodium no can exacerbate and I say trigger pre-existing condition. But if you're healthy, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. As long as the food tastes good, you put it on, you are fine because you have. I mean, it has to be in place next day. For example, make us say, potassium pills now we take a powder. You have good quality salad, good amount, 7 to 10 cups a day. I mean, signing pan go to be the inchinibia pete the fruit. So I have a lot of patients on my side. The inchinibia fruit so but they are fine. Blood pressure, everything is fine. They do their yoga. Those things are absent. Until we see it firsthand. Yeni for no own din chine on fan chine petine bian so we jai di kra but not would din yama a was sa nyoma, and they think that they are own din chine, but really no, the chine is coming from different sources. Never bring din chine but mudi McDonald's. Just that alone will give you a lot of sodium. And you just have to know what you are missing. There are 7 things you need every day. Potassium count, magnesium count, sa nyama week. The absence of this can, in the long term, affect your blood pressure. You will need to be brave or munimity with time, it's minimal quantity. Of course, the hormonal part is there. Do the basics. That part way easier than the hormonal because dealing with stress and it takes time, more tricky when dealing with the hormonal part, especially stress. Insulin is easy to deal with. But stress, it's hard to work on or stress, but they can't point to what is really stressing them. But you do things to offset the stress. So, good blood pressure, if you have the right things you can use salt as many times as you want, as you please, as you enjoy, and you're not going to have a problem. It becomes a problem when you have a pre-existing condition.
All right. Yanko phone line so na yama me hana free ya join you na yanyina dwonche. Yama me hana free ma kwa ba.
Yeah, DJ Nelson, Pacho, Bomo to saying.
Yami adum na Pacho also.
Yami adum ye. Yami sramu pa, ye juma pa mo ye. Doc yami srawo na onto unkwem. Na Pacho question am person this am eni no. Bako adentina yema athletes. Almost a salt tablet. That time you sent the engineer and you start eating. Mom cast a salt tablet. Na after training, na they are my athletes, and na near tossing no. Salt, lack of salt, it's in my cramps, na.
Yo, that's it. Your salt tablet or I demand because anytime Uber through mechanics and your man, you sweat a lot, so you deplete a lot of that. And internet is more or less it is given as an electrolyte. into ocean drinks be brave or why edema electrolytes edema ubohena salt to, and that is the reason because we want to hydrate you, and that is the reason why because you sweat, you profuse, and you lose a lot. So that's why that is given. And so second question, but you bet one baby.
So second question,
question.
But my second question, then lack of salt, a bit me ama cramps
Yes, sorry, yes, absolutely. Salt, so that kind of extracellular mineral and potassium, potassium so intracellular now. Niema mienua and answer niema a causal sa cramping niema mienu. I want to have time to also talk about that. Magnesium, any potassium, and salt, and also atomic also because salt now is working hand in hand in potassium. And when there's that imbalance, now you have cramping. Into your cramping is because of potassium, which is working hand in hand with the salt. And your cramping is also a magnesium deficiency. Tinina depend the types, at the right time, you will go through. Now, when you have science now, we between with the potassium and I say with the magnesium, and most of the time the potassium is quite related to the salt. Yes, absolutely.
All right, Doc. Young corner, young far, young mammy, young pastor and nama. Now, pastor and nama require Imakwaba.
Yo, me do so. Dr. E, and see you, Namisha Munina.
Namisha also.
Amen. But on my question, ye can't salt and I know who them. Now, the person who said, "Sin we dear hina papa," because ye war America higher where ye were Himalayan pink salt, ye were sea salt, ye were iodized salt. Into nemu dear hina papa. And my question is why on Saturday. Now you were talking about 5 grams of salt. Tiano wa me atia say 1 teaspoonful of salt. In Tiano there is answered already. After talking about what can be about seed oils, and it will be question be on the buy na a will answer that question. Now seed oils no. The person is said to say avocado oil. Avocado oil no. Extract oil ni fi avocado no na aduane ni mu ana se seed na ewo mu no mo di fi na ntia no so eye papa na. And also flaxseed oil. And also no the same hu and also ye papa na see catch up man see that see be pray
yo me da am so question here 3-4 did you kind who beside which salt na ye papa may recommend it the natural salt the natural salt even sea salt even pink salt even ano Himalayan but let me caution you Himalayan and yin na ye papa just be wo ha o mo painting ho until you have to find out you have to read it well and well until that's that now the thing I recommend you or no versus the table salt. Himalayan salt, and I say natural salt, it was about 97.5% of sodium chloride. 2.5% now I can other minerals, about 60 to 80 minerals are here, or non apotokas in France say trace minerals. Trace minerals here, but in trace amount. Into here, and it is those salt and was about 60 to 80 of them. Versus the iodized salt, which is 100% sodium chloride. Into no sad trace minerals is absent. Now, there's a place that we be here iodized salt and be one iodine salt is depleted into they need that because it prevents thyroid disease and a goiter. Into in that population, the iodized salt may be needed. But really the table salt on the wide scale is beneficial, so they can with thyroid and goiter battle. Unless you are iodine deficient, I recommend the natural salt, which is the sea salt or the pink salt. Now, with respect to seed oils, avocado, you can even look at it from YouTube. You can go on YouTube see how a natural avocado oil. I can't want some that. Now, avocado oil, a dicey kakra, and because a dicey avocado nankasano, one kasoya avocado oil, not so the chia dear, a beben is a with the chikosia, not so down on who call bape, or banana because the melting point in that low. Now, the all market, or manipulating kakra, a refined kakra, into no, what to me the chichin, but like I told everybody last time, it's not the best form of it, but it's better than the seed oils. Excuse me, avocado oil no, you want extra virgin or be a extra virgin piano who wants and the melting point near very low. Tell no, your friend say cold pressed or no, it doesn't go through any heating. Keep in mind, heating a coffee a howling and semining in a debano. Until you have to make the judgment call. Say, we use avocado oil. Most Ghanaians, Titi Romano, a friend said coconut oil near the end, but those tend to be the best, and you can go to sleep with those. But avocado oil, 500 degrees, you should obviously know, say, it has been altered a bit, but it's better than the seed oils, the flaxseed. On the other hand, it's also a good oil. Now, and so in a low melting point, it uses. You cannot use it for those are that, but that's what you have to know. Nyama a year cold press, won't mean find a dig because yes, Anna was sunset oxidize no man be a how crab money per diano. Into those are what you have to keep in mind. But the ultimate chimu the McDonald's phone use soon book on a movie soon. Say been great team. I mean, get somewhere that yes, or chair didn't know this or I did channel side the achievement. It's a problem because who hitting it turns into something else that can potentially give you problems along the line. A low grade inflammation, cancer, and with respect to oils, ghee, lard, coconut oil, extra virgin, these are good options. All the extra virgin ones are good, but you can only use them for low heat, which you could be quick. 1 minute, 2 minutes, I'd be able to done a quick now. So the betcha animal, it can be a problem.
All right, Doc. You find Ishmael somebody. Sorry, sir. Somebody in Makwaba.
Yeah, Neo, DJ, Michelle, my film. Hey, Doc, Michelle,
yeah, Joe, super. Yes, you have.
Oh boy, baby. Yo, is it? Mama soon be some crown and baby. Now then, I'm there. Into Chimuna or record and I can't be there. So, I'm there. Yeah, stress another machine now. Now, system, when you start a kidney in there, on Titan, Abandamnas or Titan analysis of my kidney, or a human in my pressure or now, bra stress and vocal for my to chrono on vocal for no release my a swanch another, it may use restroom. Abandaman will be a back. Now, why and then I will go her near Mishina, kidney known to mean Titan man. Na otum oseno anado swanchino. Na me second question on so in there. As into na yes offend obia ni kidney say potassium a problem man. Na owo akwanje bi wo wa nnuane bi wo wa ye contain potassium and as the own to mean potassium ho kra na akwanje bi wo bia ebia ni kidney say other dialysis so betum also we to me DBB potassium Sunday send them record potassium na ebu kidney function no o then is not says it and so kwan ban na wodo in pakobetum so we use kidney potassium need my kidney functions. Thank you. That's very
that's it. First question about obia why we function. Yes, some people do that. Obia physiology is different. And the might will happen in certain people, but it doesn't really decrease the blood pressure as much because all the GS are high at that point. Some people experience that peeing helps at that time, but say I think measure before and after you realize that the decrease in blood pressure is probably not that significant because of what is happening. And some people they already have issues with their bladder, and those people. Will of course will pee on themselves when it happens like that. Does that make the blood pressure go down? Absolutely not. And that's that. Now, with respect to kidney function, a very good question. As a matter of fact, you need when you have the kidney dysfunction, depending on your level, depending on your GFR, whoever is working with you has to work with you. One of our kidney issues I work with, I have every level, I have the amount of potassium you can do. And I work with them, and these are people who have paid to see me, and I work with them. I get them potassium, and they are fine. Into every level of OGFR determines the amount of potassium you can potentially get. Because you don't have clinicians guiding people through this, we just tell you that at this point you cannot do potassium, and that is because it's easier for them to avoid potassium at all, because just that high potassium will cause problems, and sometimes the potassium may be sneaking in, and that's where true blue tea comes in. As a matter of fact, the very first gentleman we did this was an older gentleman, a 86-year-old diabetic who's no longer diabetic, is in remission. Now high potassium levels all the time because of kidney function. One of the things I like about the true blue tea is potassium sparing. What it means is, if you have high potassium, it's going to get rid of the potassium for you. If you don't have potassium enough, it's not going to get rid of your potassium. And that's what was helping this gentleman. With respect to kidney, potassium, of course, by what I'm saying, is needed physiologically. But when you have that dysfunction, the body is not able to get rid of it. And that is why we don't do it. But you can be conservative. You have to have a clinician guiding you in this step. The kidney is a very delicate organ. It's in terms of treating the kidney and working with the kidneys, they say if your kidneys either wires, it has a lot of little arterioles, and all these things get damaged by high insulin, high blood pressure for years, and that alone can be a problem. In terms of working with the kidneys, you need somebody who can guide you step by step. And I only give that to the people that I'm seeing. By this level, this is what amount of potassium you're going to do, and they are fine. And so it just depends on where you are at. But if in general scheme of things, just to be safe, we just tell you to avoid potassium. I've had a couple of people in recent times, maybe last week, one lady that I know very well, she has high potassium, and the doctor has told her to stop everything. For the first time, she's buying different things, and I was trying to find out why, because one, she's diabetic. So I was trying to find out why the potassium is high. She didn't have the lab numbers. I'm still waiting for it. That was last week. It just depends. You have to have the full picture for me to be able to help anybody. With respect to the kidney function, just for take-home purposes, if you have kidney dysfunction, you want to be very, very conservative with potassium. All right, okay, that's somebody at this point. Here, for NC here, my take-home message. Now, I'm sorry, so. Yo, my message will be and not me here. Momotive from team free Ghana, Titro, Mr. Yendo, True Green Food Ghana, or Nona Adano, Yakopo Inshirano. Said the mechano, sodium, insulin, a cause sodium retention. It was our sodium retention effect, a insulin. It was hard and so then I make so go on low carb diet or insulin a drop. Now, insulin also drop out, who lose a lot of water through the kidneys. And so losing of water, and lose a lot of minerals in tea. And very important to say, so we call low carb, extremely low carb, say be a 50 gram or less, 30 gram near the now. Once any pacono, but don't so be brave, we lose a lot of water weight. Some peppers, I recommend most people say, increase your salt intake. Another thing, you see, yes, I knew man, you go low carb, no, so I say also, replenish a potassium on a low carb diet into be a beer or you're religious on the true green food, a very, very important, especially if I say, will increase your salt intake, salt intake, depending on where you are, and I say how deficient you are with iodine, you can go with the natural salt or the iodized salt, and of course potassium. The best source of potassium, I always say, is your green leafy vegetables. Medino is chubibia, nasandemakramo. Medino, the Dr. E. All right, I will see Dr. Kwame in Anayatin and Canande, Yadijumedio no ACNC. Yedin Komo edifying Chinaho. Na ya mani kwa fubi almost enchini di anyo enchini ye wodi enchini bebre ade how bebre na bro. And me doc about the church match and say, enchini ye idea, ASI ade boni, enchini ye mani peduano. The moments of war pre existing conditions, say be a war kidney problem, that's all kidney no, and me and function year, a hono and a day a how dear bro. As I said, you made your was said, into me, endi. They say, ansana obedient chibe brain, I was so here, a wounds I will kidney now what they not saying. We kidney no a idea, a boy juma,
anaasɛ na ho ɔden ne wɔ fam ɛhɔ na abɛtumi decide sɛ ebi abɛdi nkyene pii anaasɛ wo ne nkyene pii na mmom enumere de nkyene ɛyɛ na mebisa ne sɛ nkyene no wo no aduane na dugum ɛno na ɛyɛ anaasɛ wano awie na esi hɔ na wo wo nsa bɛbɔ maka hwɛ no na wo sɛ nkyene nya wo de bigum a ɛno difference ne sɛ wo se nkyene no sɛ wo no aduane na de agum na sɛ wo awie na wo do nsa bɔ mata hwɛ na wo se o ntiri mutu bi kan no nyina no ekosi wa nkyene no ɛyɛ nkyene I say ɛyɛ sea salt no ɛyɛ good nti yɛmpɛ sea salt ne ni na ɛyɛ ade a ɛbɛboa yɛda mase ne abusua mobile beti na meka sɛ bomodian afo ni kyerɛ Green Health Pharmacy na wono bɛboa True Green Foods enuane omde abai na afre True Blue Tea eno so aba no no mabe ma o sugar na akofom na nse enuane edi nyina no sugar no adore say twom eni ma onsan ka bi na bɛboa na enumere nsu de metuhwia na mekɔ ɛyɛ African International Market a wono ɛwɔ Gettysburg omo branch pa no ɛwɔ Germantown na say Oma hwe hu se community no emu etre ne senti eye Mr. Shamford oni na busuafo enumere mechiamo wona sa atre shirima kwakopiem se Gettysburg aye Maryland ha sei wono ababie eye branch ba ko ho no ma se abusuafo am wo mmea no se die aha munyina munyitwi ene tre de na momra ho na momra be shop bia no eye kama emusu kama enye ba bia akọ na akọkọ shop na afi we hu pemwe na we hu pemwe da bi ho de nyesa na tie almost a home of quality African Caribbean foods, vegetable, fresh and dry fish. Any dry fish in the miku be manage ye papa na wole pa dadia so na ye twitwa na kama say afi more beverages na afi cosmetics and so hon ma wo to nuane no na afi wo pedi odu be kwa kwasera sa body so amobody yetima giregyina honam sadi hono na abenya wetima to so ama aye hana kama besro wono ewo 289 Muddy Branch Road Gettysburg Maryland almost zip code near 20878 or more Planet Fitness and Lots or I no more to Mr. Bomodin so be so from Bomodin from number from so no 240-477-4831 240-477-4831 and that's a 301-237-5497 or from my home betimi ajo so be sure aduane be na ope koko ato ope bayira ato ope sardine bi ato awo ho bi abancho be so de ko serve wo mo obenya ni nyina bi ewo ho no abusuafo nso omo ho no udu na se bibi chiro so a onya wura ma no no ma start our come no mu bisa o de wo hia mo bi enya African stores nya no me sardine ebu okra be kina pa ukubusa do gina kanta no kra was my busy had enya sanity nti bomodin no ono betimi abo ye pa ya beda busuafo amoba so nyina che ma me hana free ye beda wase afei somebody ana yen kasa yen pastor na nama so ase ene abusuafo amoba Facebook so behwe ene YouTube so we nyina no ya da mu nyina ase ye YouTube channel no aye Asomdwee Radio and TV Facebook so aye Asomdwee Radio and TV ana wo no guso a wotie so radio no so nyina no ya beda mu nyina ase monko so ana muntie na me sanso ka mo se nyame adoma Saturday anapa 10 am be besa repeat na nse nya eye feedback be se Saturday no eye na yenya how kakra feed no o ma na ayese how kakra ba ho ye technicians no guso a mo hwe na ya hwe adekora e course Saturday esra mo amon course na muntie every Saturday 10 am na how no etu ebetwa na afin so ye wie pe be ready e wo in SoundCloud ho so betimi akọ na ohonom de Asomdwee Radio okwa abetimi akwakotie repeated version of the program any other program bi so e bia ho ne ekokoto na wo so akwakotie bedama say na meka o say Monday through Friday betie Royal Princess of the Airwaves nyame adma Wednesday yi na chere say edem soko brabeti anapa 9 am to 11 am nyame ehwe wo so ma de pa bi chi wa ne na hono na so ba na bedana say ya bedama say biem nyame enka mo ho ene na ahana yedimo AC
Wasia Brosansa. Yadia, you would answer what you want.